Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today, I don't know where to start. And shout out to Ali Desh, huge supporter of the channel here at Goal Line Hockey. But today I'm about to rip the Ottawa Senators apart. Maybe asking yourself, Kevin, why are you ripping the Ottawa Senators apart? Yeah, they've had a bad start to their season. They're currently dead last in the Atlantic Division. But what could you possibly be so upset about? So, this is a team that is still very young. There's a lot of guys my age, even younger than me, and I get that. But there's a clear issue when your captain and your leadership is coming out acting like a pussy. Now, I don't usually talk about that stuff on the channel, and if you're not looking to hear this, then get off now. But I'm telling you right now, the Senators are lacking that veteran that calms everybody down to a point where their captain, Kachuk, doesn't come out saying what he said. Now, you may be wondering, Kevin, what is the quote that you are coming from? So the other day, Brady Kachuk came out and said this. So this is Brady Kachuk on people criticizing head coach DJ Smith. He said, "I'm sick and tired of seeing all this negativity on social media and all of that. It's not one person, it's the group in here that needs to figure it out." And that's fair. I like that he said that. But here's the problem. When you're talking about negativity on social media and fans getting upset, I've had this channel for 4 years, Goal Line Hockey. You know how many people come on here talking smack and this and that and trash talking? Am I going to come out here saying, they hurt my feelings, they said bad things? Guys, what are you talking about? At least Brady Kachuk and the Senators get paid millions of dollars to deal with that heat. I don't. So, I don't know what else to say. Now, I know they've dealt with a lot of injuries here, but this is a team that this is to the point where you need some of those guys that you brought in this summer, like a Claude Giroux, to settle everybody down. And that's kind of what you're looking for here to get them out of their current position. And I've said this, I always say this every year in October and November and even into December a little bit. You can't win a season in October, but you can lose a season in October. It's unfair, but that's how it works. The Senators are on the verge of losing the month of November and not being able to get themselves out of it. And here's the good news. The good news is, other than the top half of that division, Tampa, Toronto, some of those other teams, there's still room for the Senators to kind of move up. You know, the Sabres haven't looked great. Montreal looks pretty good. Florida, Detroit, Tampa, and Toronto. The only really good team in the Atlantic right now is Boston, who is currently leading the entire National Hockey League in points. Other than the Bruins, everybody else is still fairly close. So if you want to look at any sort of, you want to take some kind of solace in the fact, like, all right, we aren't dead yet, that is still there. The difference between them and the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are second in the Atlantic Division, is 12 points. There is a 12-point gap. And considering they are in the same division, depending on what happens with the Leafs, if the Senators beat the Leafs the rest of this season, potentially, I don't know how many games they have left head-to-head, you could make that gap up and maybe even make it a 6-point gap just by beating the Leafs here down the rest of the road in the season. So again, it's one team. You have everybody else ahead of you as well, but this is how it works. And honestly, I think I like the Senators. I have their jersey. I cheer them on because Ali Desh, who is a big supporter, is a big Senators fan. Is always helping us out here on the channel. I like a lot of the guys on this team. I like Kachuk. I like Shabbat. You have great names like Jacob Bernard Docker and Tim Stutzla. I mean, how could you not like the Ottawas? Okay, maybe if you're a team in that division, fair. But this is a team that is just not performing at a good enough level. And unfortunately, when you play in Canada, DJ Smith is going to take a lot of criticism. And I think he's done a fairly good job in Ottawa. I do. I like DJ Smith as well. But unfortunately, what happens in the industry, and nobody's changing this anytime soon, unless you could find a way to easily trade players for players back and making a lot of roster moves, unfortunately, it's easier for kind of the coach to fall on the sword first before they go after other players and making this move and that move. It's easier to trade out one coach and fire him and bring in a new coach than it is to trade this player for that player and that player for that player and bring that player in the waiver wire and bring that player in and sign him. And there's a lot more involved, and it's not necessarily as easy. So when you look at it, the head coach is always the guy that gets kind of praised when they do well, but he's also the first guy to take the hit when the team isn't doing well. And unfortunately for the Ottawa Senators, they're unfortunately on the second part of that spectrum right now. And, when you look at their numbers, their penalty kill is a little bit below average, but it's not terrible. Their power play is playing league average pretty much, so they're doing fine in those categories. They could both be better, but they're not like atrociously bad. Their save percentage is just below league average at .895, and the save percentage across the league is .900. So their goaltending isn't that bad. Like, it's just one of those things where they're just not getting enough goal support right now. And unfortunately, when you look at their goals for and goals against, that's kind of the bigger theme here is they're struggling to score goals. They only have 57 goals this season. That's 19th in the National Hockey League. They've given up 64 goals, so they're a plus-minus of a -7 right now. So again, if you're looking at tiebreakers and stuff like that come playoff time, that's something to consider. Then they're 22nd in the league in goals against, so that's obviously concerning. And the record is 6-11-1 at the making of this video. And, the thing that is, frustrating is now you're starting to see some injuries. Josh Norris was placed on the injured reserve back in October. November 13th last week, Thomas Chabot, concussion. He's placed on the injured reserve. Jacob Bernard-Docker, who is the newest addition to this list, he has an ankle injury and is expected to miss a month. And that was according to Bruce Gariach of Post Media up there in Ottawa. So it's just been a lot of bad news. It's kind of been, when one domino falls, everything else seems to be falling behind it. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So, with everything I have to make a video about that, but the whole Nikita Zaitsev thing, how he basically threatened to fight a fan who was posting a Spider-Man meme, and, Zaitsev really didn't like that. I mean, you're giving people way too much attention. Guys have to learn how to block out that noise. And I don't know if it's a generation thing, because I try not to do that. If anything, embrace that. If anything, I would take that Spider-Man Zaitsev meme, if I'm Zaitsev, and put it up on my wall above my bed. And every morning when I go to bed, and every morning when I wake up, I see that, and it motivates me. But don't give them the satisfaction that you go out there and go after the guy. Now the guy is getting more clout because you're answering him back, and it's blown up on social media, and there's articles everywhere about it. It was a win-win for the guy. Whether he goes to the fight and then you're beating up a fan, so you kind of lose in that regard, or you do what happened here and you still lose. The guy still wins, whether you beat his ass or he says no. He won either way. Again, you got to play. What do they say? You got to play checkers before you play chess, and I think that's kind of he's just kind of missing the mark here, and he's just feeding into this sort of narrative. I don't want to get too far into it. You know what? I'll probably just throw this into the same video, but it's frustrating to me seeing this Senators team kind of react this way, because what do they always say? You know what you have and what your team is truly about when you face adversity. And that goes for anybody in life. You see people's true colors when they face adversity. And I think for the Senators, for the first time, really, we're seeing their expectations of maybe getting to the postseason this year and making the playoffs in 2023. That's not necessarily going to happen if this is their mindset when they hit a rough patch early in the season. They started off really well to start the year. They had that first couple games they didn't play well. They went on a winning streak And then things have just fallen off, and the second things kind of just fell off. They just kind of laid flat and just kind of let it happen to them. You know, like I said, you look at those first two games they lost on the road in Buffalo and Toronto, and then they rattled off a bunch of wins at home. They won 4 straight games at home in that stretch, and then things fell off again, and they have not gotten anywhere near where they want to be. Look at their record right now. Since that 4-game winning streak, what was that, Game 6 of this season, and we are now Game 18 into the season, going into Vegas tonight, or tomorrow night, or tonight, depending on when you guys watch this video. Either way, tonight's game against Vegas. It's been a real struggle for this team, like badly. 7, 8, 9, 10. So in their past 12 games, they have won 2 of their past 12 games. I mean, and that's coming off of a 4-game winning streak before that game against the Minnesota Wild back before Halloween in October. It's been a rough month, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You cannot win a season in October, November, March, April. There's only a couple games in April. You get the point. But you can lose a season in one of those months. And the Ottawa Senators, right now, they gave themselves an opportunity with that 4-game winning streak. But if they don't start winning games here early in December and, at the end of November here, they could very well lose the season in the month of November. And that would be a sad thing here for this team, and kind of a sad reminder of the state of the Ottawa Senators, as this is a team that, honestly, we're kind of hoping to see better. But do they deserve better? With that kind of mentality, you can make the argument that maybe they don't. And maybe they need a little bit more seasoning and growing up to do before they're ready to be a legit contender in that Atlantic Division. Guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the Ottawa Senators? Do you guys think I'm overblowing this? Do you guys think that they are just not a good hockey team? Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.